when Daddy come over there, she called him a punk. You know what I'm saying? So of course I'm not going.
She's very
disrespectful to my father. Yes, you are. You call him a punk. You don't care if he take care of you or not. He's still your father.
All the cards were on the table for Mr. Hill. He was furious because he claimed he paid a lot of money in child support for a child he now believes to not be his. Ms. Harris, with a smirk on her face, was beyond certain that he was the father of her child, and the DNA results were going to prove just that.
Mr. Hill, you have petitioned the courts for years to get a DNA test on Ms. Harris's 18-year-old son, Taman, because you've paid more than $50,000 in child support, but you're not certain he's your child.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your previous petitions were denied, but there is now reasonable doubt and testing has been ordered.
Judge Lauren was initially confused by his story. Mr. Hill claimed he was paying over $50,000 in child support for a child he believed was not his. When asked why he was then having doubts, he let the cat out of the box and said Ms. Harris cheated on him.
Okay, so hold on. What, Ms. Harris?
He's a liar, a total liar. I've never been with anyone in the 3 years that we were together.
Why would he manufacture these doubts?
Because the alleged claim person that I supposed to slept with, he was my friend.
Excuse
my
me,
mother
Your Honor.
knows him and everything.
We broke up at least about 6 times.
Uh-huh.
And
He's a
actually,
lie.
that's maybe the next to last time we broke up.
Mr. Hill was talking like a loose cannon, and he just wasn't ready to shut up. He had so much to reveal to the judge. Aside from the accusation about Ms. Harris cheating on him, he said she told him on several occasions that she actually slept with another man.
She told me numerous times. She basically, when I was with my ex, I was walking down the street with her. The young man and the other potential father, he tried to have a fight with me. I didn't know this man from not one time, never met him before, never
So
seen
you
him
knew there
before.
was another potential father?
Yes, I did, because she told me that the young man that she had sex with, it didn't last long. It lasts like a couple of seconds. That's what she told me, a few minutes.
Well, the judge had heard enough of Mr. Hill's rants, and she wanted to hear Ms. Harris's side of the story. Trust me, she had some truths of her own to reveal. She claimed that right from the moment she gave birth, Mr. Hill was beyond excited to be a father. It felt like his greatest wish had just come true.
Got pregnant, first in the delivery room. He was so happy talking about he didn't want to sign a birth
Excuse me, Your
certificate,
Honor.
jumping, hollering,
Let
I
her
got a
speak,
baby.
let her
he
speak,
cut
Mr. Hill.
the umbilical cord, everything. We was at the store one day, he's hollering across the store, I got a baby, I'm buying Pampers, look at my baby.
Excuse me, Your Honor, that's a lie.
So you're saying he
This is
acknowledged the child and he believed the mom was his?
I've never heard
So
this.
you've never,
No.
ever heard him doubt
No.
this?
One thing was for sure, Mr. Hill and Ms. Harris weren't going to agree on anything in that courtroom. Mr. Hill went on to tell his story about how he went to different courts to try to determine if he was the real father of her son. But Ms. Harris came in like a storm and called him a big fat liar.
Since you have these doubts, don't tell him. You need to find out if this is really your
These
child.
doubts just came. You never had doubts.
Different
You are
occasions.
amazed, happy because this was your first
Honor,
child.
different occasions, I'm at court. She's nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. Child's different when we go to different child support. I used to pay $300, maybe $400 every 2 weeks in child support. She never showed up. I tried to get a DNA test. She never showed up, so I tried over years and years and years.
Before the case could move forward, Ms. Harris's mother intervened, and she was furious with Mr. Hill. She wasn't in the mood to listen to anything the judge wanted to say. All she wanted to do was vent her anger and frustration to Mr. Hill in the courtroom.
Mr. Hill, you need to be ashamed of yourself. You! Are you blind, Chris? Are you blind?
I'm not blind.
Do
I
you
have two
see
other
him,
kids
Chris?
that look exactly like
Do you see him, Chris?
Well, your daughter shouldn't have
Your
been sleeping
other
with somebody
children do
else
not
telling me
look
what
like
to
you.
do.
You need to have them on paternity court back in front of this judge, because he looks like you, they don't.
My kids look exactly like
Are
me.
you crazy, Chris?
I could pull out a picture
Are
and
you
show you
crazy,
he looks
Chris?
just
I know
like
what
me.
you are doing to my grandchild. It's not about you, it's not about you, it's about my grandchild.
Exactly.
Are you crazy?
After hearing so much from Ms. Harris's mom, Judge Lauren decided she was ready to hear from the little boy who found himself in a mess created by his parents. Sadly, he never felt the presence of Mr. Hill in his life. Not one day went by where he didn't wish the situation was completely different.
I known this my father my whole life. I never knew anything about no DNA tests, nothing else, nothing.
And did you have a relationship with your father?
Not that I remember. It made me feel kind of bad because I see everybody else with their father and I don't.
It's all right, babe. Take your time. You said everybody else had a father.
And I just feel like he should be there. He should have been there my whole life. I should remember him through my life and I don't.
On one of those occasions when Ms. Harris's son tried to reach out to Mr. Hill and have some type of bond with him, the reply he gave to her son would leave anyone who read it in shock. It was so bad that Judge Lauren couldn't hide her anger and disgust at Mr. Hill.
Because it's the fact of the matter, every time I did reach out to him, try to develop a relationship with him, he wanted to spend time with his friend instead of me.
Excuse me, even if you were disappointed in anything he's 18 years old. He's going through a lot right now, just trying to become a man on his own, especially with no example. But this message was a little angry, it was a little petty. Now, as we talk about money,
well, it's finally time to unveil the truth after so many lies and deceptions. The day of a reckoning is finally here, with everyone itching to know the truth. Are you ready to find out? I bet you are. So take a deep breath, because here it comes.
it has been determined by this court, Mr. Hill, you are his father.
Can I say
I
something?
think you
Your
owe
Honor?
my son an apology.
Excuse me. That's exactly what I'm finna do. Tamara, I apologize for not being in your life, not doing what I needed to do. I love you, and I just want you to apologize. I want to apologize to you. Please forgive me.
Mr. Woods felt like the luckiest man on the planet. Well, he was the luckiest man on the planet. He always wanted to be a father, and his girlfriend made that dream come true. His dreams came crashing down when Ms. James told him he wasn't the father. It all began like this.
Mr. Woods, you say your dream of becoming a father came true when the defendant gave birth to your 1-year-old daughter, Addison. But that dream became a nightmare when months after you became a daddy and signed the birth certificate, the defendant dropped a bomb and said you are not her father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
You are here to prove that Addison is your biological daughter.
Ms. James dove right into it. Oh, trust me. It was a shocker to everyone in the courtroom when she said Mr. Woods wasn't the father. They were all in disbelief that she had admitted it. She claimed she told Mr. Woods, but he refused to believe her.
See from this video in the monitor that she means the world to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me about the bond you've established with Addison.
It's unexplainable. That's all I can say.
You really don't have words.
Can't explain it.
And Ms. James, why are you so upset in this moment?
Because I know Cody is a good dad to Addison, but I'm here today to tell them that he is not the father, and I did tell him this.
Well, some eggs are definitely about to break. Their relationship started with Mr. Woods being the shoulder to cry on for Ms. James. She cheated on her boyfriend with Mr. Woods. A couple of months after that, she called Mr. James to tell him she was carrying his baby.
And I asked her what was wrong, and she said her and her ex got into a fight because he didn't want to come. So I spent like 30 minutes trying to cheer her up, and then we left, and we had sex 3 times, and she felt bad because she cheated on her boyfriend at the time. So we didn't talk about it, and then 2 months later I was at work, and that's when she called me and said that she was pregnant, and I was the father.
Wow. So Ms. James,
Yes, Your Honor.
did you use protection?
No.
So when you found out you were pregnant, you immediately called Mr. Woods.
Yes.
When she initially told her boyfriend that she was pregnant, he denied the baby and told her he wanted nothing to do with the child. Having no other option, she told Mr. Woods that he was the father of the child at the time.
Yes, because he did not want anything to do when I told him that I was pregnant, and it possibly could be his daughter.
The other guy,
Yes, Your Honor.
he didn't want anything to do with the baby.
No, yes, Your Honor.
So Mr. Woods, you said you were excited. Once
Your
you
Honor.
found out you were having a baby, you started going to the doctor's appointments, what else did you do?
I was excited. I started building a nursery, and I spent many nights with her when she was sick, throwing up.
Mr. Woods was one sweet dad. He was there for everything. Through the birth and through taking care of the baby, he basically showed up every step of the way. He even signed the birth certificate. The question then remains, where did the doubt come from?
And I was rocking her to sleep and stuff because I did not want to leave her side or Aubrey's because she's in pain, so I stayed there the whole time. I called off
And
work
did you
just to
sign
stay
the
there.
birth certificate?
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
You did. So, Ms. James, if you had these doubts, why did you allow Mr. Woods to sign the birth certificate?
Because he proposed to me, and he knew that it was right to propose to someone if he wanted to take responsibility of the child.
So you allowed him to sign the birth certificate because he had proposed to you?
Ms. James kept it a secret from him until 2 months after the baby was born that the child could possibly not be his own. Now, that's just weird if you ask me. She definitely broke his heart with that statement.
We was living together at the time. We was still engaged, and we got to a big fight. And I walked outside, and she came out with me, and that's when she said that Addison may not be mine. That could be her ex.
Why did you say that to him in that moment, Ms. James?
Because out of spite to get to him, and also because I've told him before that he wasn't the father, and I just wanted to reassure him that he knows that he's not the father.
It was a really sad day for Mr. Woods in the courtroom. courtroom. When Ms. James's brother walked up to the stand, he couldn't deny how much Mr. Woods cared for the child. He even said he was the best father figure the child could ever need. That has to be the sweetest thing ever.
And seeing Cody with Addison, and he is a great father to her. And I just really wanted to make it a point to him and Mr. Woods here that the child support can be devastating, because I am in a position of that myself, and I would like to see my niece have a responsible, good father in her life, and have that father figure.
Well, the suspense is finally over, and the hassle of who the dad of their child is about to be revealed. It's been a bumpy and funny ride with Mr. Woods and Ms. James. All eyes are on the judge as she unleashes the truth. Get ready, paternity folks.
Mr. Woods, you are not the father. I'm sorry for him and for you and for Addison. Jerome, will you please go and see if you can get Mr. Woods to return to the courtroom and check on him, please?
I will.
I'm going to see if we can get Mr. Woods to return to court.
This is one epic church scandal that I promise you will never forget. Mr. House was in that courtroom to defend his name as he was being accused of fathering the child of a woman who was 28 years younger than him. Trust me, it was one hell of a case. The case began like this.
Mr. House, you're a church pastor and bishop who may have fathered a child with a woman who's 28 years younger than you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Ms. Webster, you admit you were involved with 3 different men during the time you conceived your daughter, including Mr. House.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, the second possible father you've identified, Mr. Miles Jones, is 9 years older than you.
Well, their funny little story started with a Bible study session. As Ms. Webster talked about how they met, she said she thought she was going to have a normal Bible session, but it ended in both her and Mr. House having unprotected sex.
Kind of brought a connection. There was a connection. I thought she was hot, and we exchanged numbers. And after exchanging numbers, I decided that I wanted to follow up on this. So we set a date for the following week, and we went out, and we just had a great time together.
Did you think it was a committed relationship?
No.
You didn't?
No. As time began to go along, I began to think that, maybe in the right atmosphere.
They couldn't get their stories to align, and trust me, it wasn't surprising at all. Ms. Webster claimed that they met in church, and things became sexual during one of their sessions. Mr. House, on the other hand, said they met at a food stand, and she was the one who wanted a sexual relationship with him.
Is that proper language to use for a young woman?
Well, in Hosea chapter 4, God called Gomer a whore.
No. Well, we're not in Hosea chapter 4. We in paternity court, and I'm the judge, and in this courtroom, we're going to respect women. Now, you can tell the story without calling her name.
Ms. Webster drops a truth bomb in the courtroom that leaves everyone speechless. While she was fooling around with our sleek pastor in her Bible sessions, she had a boyfriend. In her defense, she claimed her relationship was on and off, which eventually resulted in her having a sexual relationship with Mr. House.
Sleeping with someone else during that time?
Yes, sure.
But I wasn't.
And who's that person?
Mr. Miles Jones.
Mr. Miles Jones. Now, who is he? How did you meet him? Was this a boyfriend? What was...
Yes, he was a boyfriend.
Mr. Jones, who happens to be the boyfriend in the picture, walks into the courtroom. Her relationship with Mr. Jones didn't particularly start as a romantic one. It began as a sexual one before they both started to have feelings for each other.
Casual sex? What were you guys doing?
At first it started off as casual sex for about 2 to 3 weeks, and then I started catching feelings. She told me that she started catching feelings also, so we made a serious relationship.
So you decided to make it serious?
Yes.
But at some point, she started sleeping with Mr. House. Did you know that? You knew?
No.
Now Ms. Webster finds out she's pregnant. Of course, she doesn't tell her boyfriend because he has no idea she was intimate with her pastor. But guess what? After telling Mr. House, he is nowhere to be found. It's as if, as soon as he finds out she's pregnant, he disappears from the surface of the earth.
When I found out I was pregnant, I was trying to contact Mr. House. His phone was disconnected. First, I never knew he left town. And then I didn't even get in contact to tell him until after I had my baby, which he denied her to the fullest. He denied her. He wanted a DNA test. He didn't want nothing to do with my baby.
That's not true.
And for his money to be on full when I asked him for diapers and everything, where was that? Because they was nowhere near around.
Mr. House had some doubts about the baby's paternity because she was in intimate relationships with a couple of other men who were not him. But hold up, that was not the craziest part of her story. She waited 6 months before telling him that she was pregnant and that he might be the father of her child.
Really? I said, how long? She was like, I'm about 5 to 6 months. I said, so you trying to tell me that it's mine? She said,
5 to 6 months before you told him?
Well, I was
So you
4
can
to 5
imagine, I didn't know it all.
So when you told him, I'm pregnant, did you then tell him, and you're the father?
No, I told him it's a possibility that he can be my baby's father.
So this was one hell of a case, if you ask me. The hassle of who the dad of their child is about to be revealed. It's been a bumpy and funny ride with Mr. White and Ms. Webster. All eyes are on the judge as she unleashes the truth. Get ready, paternity folks.
It has been determined that Mr. Miles Jones, you are not her father. Mr. House, that you are not her father. Ms. Webster, do you know who your child's father is?
Yes, my ex-boyfriend.
Your Honor, I just feel that a great injustice is done.
Ms. Mitchell wanted nothing other than to prove Mr. Jordan was her father. She claims she recalled meeting him when she was just 7 years old, and he took her in as his child. Ever since then, he's denied her and not treated her like a daughter. Mr. Jordan wasn't denying the fact that they hadn't been very close, but he knew he wasn't her father.
Ms. Mitchell, you say you met the defendant, Mr. Jordan, in a courthouse when you were 7 years old,
Yes.
and he was taken to court for child support.
Yes.
You claimed he denied paternity testing at that time and claimed you as his daughter and began paying child support.
For Ms. Mitchell, the results of the court ruling were beyond important to her. She was heartbroken because she lost her mother a while back to a tragic disease, and she was desperate to know if she still had any family left in her life.
A year ago from breast cancer, I just want to fill that void. I don't have no one else. It's just me, and I just want to make sure that he is my father, and I just want closure.
I understand. I lost my mother as well to breast cancer, and I couldn't imagine, ma'am. Mr. Jordan?
Yes.
You just truly don't believe she's your biological child. As you can see, the young woman is hurting.
Mr. Jordan claimed he never wanted to be her father, but Ms. Mitchell's mother wanted him to adopt her as his child. He even went on to say that he changed his living conditions for Ms. Mitchell so she would feel welcome in his home. But there was more juice to the story, trust me.
She was 7 or 8. Her mom wanted me to adopt her, so I changed my living conditions, bought bedroom furniture, got her set up to go to school and everything. I was going to adopt her, but her mom reneged on it when it was time to go to court, and I never heard from her again, okay?
He was trying to sell himself to the judge as the good father who did what was right for the child. But guess what? Ms. Mitchell jumped in to cut him short and said all that was not true. She claimed that all the while she knew him, he never for once tried to establish a relationship or act like her father in any way.
He always blow me off every time. It was like every once or twice a year I see him, every 2-3 years. I had asked him to get my car fixed. When he said, yeah, I'll coach you.
From her childhood memory, she recalled the first time she ever met Mr. Jordan in the courtroom. Back then, the judge asked her if she knew who her father was, but she had no idea. That's when Mr. Jordan came in like a hero and said he was going to be her father. But trust me, he was no father to Ms. Mitchell at all.
Well, when I was 7 years old, I remember sitting on a bench and the judge asked me, do you know who your father is? I said, no. That's when he came up and said what he said about, well, I'll be her father. And that's when I was like, okay, well, you're my dad.
I mean, Mr. Jordan claimed he opened his home and heart to Ms. Mitchell and even went as far as paying her child support through the years. Well, it was time to hit the nail on the head, and the judge asked him why he doubted that he wasn't her father, having done all he claimed he did for her.
I didn't even find out about her until she was 8 years old, okay? I never had a relationship with her mom, period, ever, other than, like I say, it was that one-time affair with her mom.
So you basically had a one-night stand?
Exactly.
Mr. Jordan wasn't alone in the courtroom. He had a woman who he claimed was his real daughter. You could tell she didn't like Ms. Mitchell one bit. She claimed she also never believed that Ms. Mitchell was related to her father in any way, because her father was always there for her.
How did you regard Ms. Mitchell growing up?
I'm the first one, so of course.
Of course, you're always the first.
I am the first
everything.
one. We don't know nobody else. Don't
Whatever.
be hating, girl. Stop hating with your face.
Whatever.
This is fake right here. All this crap. That's all
No,
fake.
what you are
She
is
is
fake.
not like that. That is all fake.
No,
Do you, girl?
Well, it's time we brought the Katoons down on this plot twist, wouldn't you say? It was time to find out the truth and know if the craziness was all worth it. The moment of truth is here, people. Brace yourselves for the results.
Mr. Jordan, you are her father. What do you feel, Miss Mitchell?
I guess I just want him to treat me better as a daughter.
The thing is like, I would like to leave this court with one frame of thought, okay?
Oh, what is your frame of thought?
Anytime you're a woman, your wife, your girlfriend,